to order. If we could all rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Thank everyone for being here. First item on the agenda is the audience of any citizen. Do we have anyone here from the public who would like to speak? Okay. Let me read this little bit that I have to read real quick. The Florida Gateway College Board of Trustees will hear any citizen who wishes to address the board on a one-time basis pertaining to a relevant topic. If the board wishes to hear more about that topic will be scheduled for a future board meeting. Each speaker is limited to 3 minutes, and the time dedicated to this topic will not exceed 20 minutes. So, that said, come on up, and if you'll tell us who you are and whatever you'd like to share.
My name is Tricia Lynn. I am a resident here of Columbia County, and I am also a assistant professor within the mathematics department here at FGC. I just have a question. So if you want to address this later, that's great, but I just wanted to pose it. In light of House Bill 543 and yesterday's first Court of Appeals ruling in McDaniels versus the state of Florida, I was just wondering, will you guys be evaluating your policy 6HX12 3-10 regarding the carrying of weapons on campus? That was all.
Thank you. We have a very capable attorney here to my right who I'm sure will address that, but thank you. The next item is approval of the board minutes from August 14, 2025. We've all had an opportunity to review the minutes. Does anyone have any questions or comments about the minutes? If not, I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move we approve the minutes as presented.
Dr. Cerency?
Second.
Ms. Allen? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That carries. Next item on the agenda is our student government report. And I see we have a student government representative here. Come on up to the podium and give us your report.
Hello. Good afternoon, Chair, Trustees, and Dr. Barrett. I'm Brianna Sweet. This is my second year at Florida Gateway College. I am SG president. And I'm also from Broward, Florida. So this is a little change for me. Still getting used to it, even though I've been here for a year. And I'm majoring in business marketing. Just a little fun fact. So we've kicked off this semester with our welcome week. It was really big. It's one of the largest events that we have of the year. Students really loved activities like karaoke, dodgeball, and the caricatures. That is like our most popular. The line is literally long all day until he leaves. So got to bring that back. Our Navigate and Nibbles program was also a hit. It helped a lot of students find their classes and, grab a quick snack while on the way to class. A change that we implemented this year was rebranding the Club Rush and the Student Engagement Fair. We invited not only the clubs, but also campus departments to participate, and we found that students preferred having both resources and, opportunities to be involved at the same place. In September, we've kept things going with coffee and donuts, paint pouring, and our trivia series, which is always popular. I've gotten a few arguments in the trivia, so I know I've been there. And coming up, we have our Fall Festival, September 24th, which is also another major event for us. I also want to share that our Halloween Horror Nights trip sold out by 1 p.m. on the same day. So I already knew that. I was up bright and early, 7 a.m., waiting on my ticket. And it just shows that the students are excited and ready to, have some fun and engage. And of course, we still have more events planned for October and November to keep the energy up. I just want to thank you for your support in helping us and creating a strong student life here at FGC. Thank you.
All right. Anyone have any questions or comments?
No.
Well, thank you very much. We're glad to have you here in North Florida now, and we appreciate all you're doing. That's a lot. That's very great that we have so much student life here on campus. Thank you. Our next item is the presentation of the consent agenda. The items on the consent agenda are routine business, state directives, and/or compliance items. All items have been reviewed by the board attorney and have been available to the board for its examination. Any trustee can request a topic to be removed from the consent agenda and discussed further. Typographical errors will be noted and corrected in the board minutes. Is there any item on the consent agenda that any board member would like to have removed? If not, I will consider a motion to pass the consent agenda.
So moved, Medina.
Mr. Medina,
Second, Mrs. Norris.
Ms. Norris, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It passes. Next item is academic affairs.
Good evening, board members. It's been a busy start to the semester as we welcome back faculty and students to our campus. In liberal arts, the math department acquired the technology to link students' graphing calculators to the instructor's computer, allowing for instant feedback and improved classroom engagement. This, combined with specialized keyboards and other technology, helps enhance student experience. Today, in liberal arts, I also received an email from Professor Sandra Johnston that I wanted to share. She wanted to bring to my attention the recent actions of Dean Tim Mims, who is not with us today as he is serving in the National Guard. Today, a student confided a couple weeks ago, a student confided in Professor Johnston that they were experiencing serious health concerns, though they were getting medical help. A week later, that same student came to Professor Johnston looking visibly unwell. She told Professor Johnston that she had been advised to go to the hospital, but she didn't want to miss class and she was having challenges with a few other college-related issues. She also didn't have a way to get to the hospital. Not only did Dean Mims help resolve these issues the student was facing to ease their concerns, but he personally called for and paid for an Uber to take her to the hospital. Later, this student confided to Professor Johnston that they had been suffering from a serious infection, and the actions of Professor Johnston and Dean Mims may have saved her. I want to commend both of our FGC team members for their commitment to our students. In Teacher Prep, Future Teachers Club put together boxes of school supplies for children affected by the Cedar Park fire. A special thank you to Travis George for facilitating this effort. In nursing, we are excited to have Hannah Stafford and Leslie Kearse join our nursing faculty. They bring a wealth of career and educational experience in specialized areas such as OBGYN and pediatrics. So I'd like to welcome them both to the team. Also in nursing, our LPN pass rates have come in, and we saw pass rates of 93.75%, which surpassed the national pass rate of 86.5% and the state rate of 75.9%. However, our RN program experienced a decline in first-time pass rates for the last reporting cycle. First-time pass rates declined to 76% approximately, while overall pass rates fell to 93%. The program administrators immediately investigated this decline and noted a potential factor was a change made to our test prep process at the beginning of fall of last year. We have already reverted to our previously successful preparation methods and have proven effective for our students in the past, and I have ensured that these processes are back in place for fall of 2025. In workforce, as requested, each of you was provided with documents as well as the 2025 fact book, which summarizes data from various workforce programs. Please let me know if you have any questions on those. In welding, we recently held summer certification testing and saw a 100% pass rate. And I did want to commend our instructors, Joe Ganser and Jonathan Green, on those strong results. And then finally, the college has been working to identify the appropriate pathways to handle AI as we move forward. I wanted to take a few moments to inform you about a few efforts ongoing in academics on this front. In computer science, we have developed a new program focused on artificial intelligence. This will include an AS degree pathway as well as 2 stackable CCCs, or college certificates. Those certificates are in AI awareness and AI practitioner. These programs were presented to the EAC yesterday and they were approved, and we hope to present them to you next month. In addition, with me tonight is Orlando Macias Sanchez, the professor leading our computer science programs. Now, I do say we developed the program, but the truth is he developed the AI program mentioned, and what he's also done is create an in-house AI chatbot. So, we've all heard of ChatGPT. Orlando created Wolves AI, which he has embedded in not just our courses, but other different ways to enhance student experience and learning. So at this time, I would like to ask him to come up, and he's going to give a brief presentation on AI and how we're approaching it on the academic side. Orlando?
Hello, everyone. My name is Orlando Macias Sanchez, and thank you for the opportunity to show what we are doing now in the computer science department, and also I think that across the college. I would like to start saying that I joined Florida Gateway College last fall. That was my first time here in Florida. We moved from South Carolina, and when I started, I had a kind of a long conversation with Chris, and he was very open to have some ideas about how we can integrate AI, how we can use, how we can help our students, because that is our first focus here, how we can help them. So after that conversation, we have a few ideas. One of them is a Wolf's AI. So after 3 weeks, I think that we worked side by side. He said that he didn't do anything, but he helped me a lot in that sense. And I came with that prototype, which is Wolf's AI. So we tested. Also, the e-learning department, they help a lot, the IT department with the servers. So we need, indeed, at that point, we needed a lot of resources just to put everything together. So we didn't have AI computers, but we used the resources that we have here, and we use a third party just to connect the systems. Okay, so we tested our system in our previous, in the summer and in the spring, in those 2 terms, okay? And, well, I think that it was great with our students. They enjoyed. I would like to take, I would like to kind of navigate with what we have done. But first of all, just to clarify the terms artificial intelligence. So I have this kind of concept here that I would like to say. So AI is a computer system performing tasks that normally need human intelligence. A lot of people think that, well, AI is very complicated, and indeed could be complicated. But even the people that create it, they don't understand what happened in this black box that we have inside. So we have some input, we have some output, but inside something happened. It's like our brain. So it has connection, create new paths, just to, at the end of the day, to identify patterns, to communicate using natural language. And that is something powerful about AI, that we can interact, not using coding, like heavy coding, but talking. And that is, I think that a lot of people can see AI as a powerful tool, because there is no restriction in terms of age, in terms of knowledge or skill. So it's open to everyone. Okay. I have this slide. So there are 4 stages that we have when we are working with AI models, which is first of all is the data collection. That is I would say the most important part when we are working with AI. No matter what we have at the end of the result, if we don't have data that we can feed to our AI, the result is going to be hallucination or something that is not real. So we have the pre-training, fine-tuning, and the reinforcement learning part. Because we don't have here in-house AI computers, we are just focusing in the last part, which is reinforcement. So we are providing to our AI just the context of our college. Let's say syllabus, other material that we are using for our classes. Okay, but we are planning, hopefully in the future, have our own AI computers. And there are not a lot, but a few AI models that are open source, and we can use in-house, and we can just develop and automate multiple processes here. So we are very excited about this, and this is our, I would say, our baby. It's our Wolf's AI. So it's a hybrid model. Okay, so we use some resources that are in-house, but the AI models themselves, they are a third party. So we are using now OpenAI and Grok just to power the content and what we are doing with them. Okay, and this is the architecture that we have. Everything except this third party is outside of the college. Okay, so all of the files, APIs, databases, everything is inside. So in terms of our data security, in terms of user information, everything is protected inside. We are just transferring to the third party the embeddings. The embeddings is basically some specific code that help the AI tool to identify and to pretty much translate what we want to do. Okay, so that is what we have here. In terms of the student experience in Canvas, so what we did is we were able to embed our tool in Canvas. So we cannot change the code that we have in Canvas, but we were able to integrate. That was something that was not easy at the beginning, but we were able to do it. And what we had here is 24/7 availability. I think that all of us, we have been in the process of this being part of the college, right? And waiting for a response from an instructor is kind of difficult. Sometimes they don't respond in the weekends, so it's in the night. So, but with our tool, so they have this 24/7 availability here, okay? So, and that is interesting. So they have also personalized support, immediate feedback. And the difference between this and ChatGPT is that we feed our tool with our information. Everything is in-house here. And the instructor, it maintains the oversight, okay? So we are able to review the logs and see how the students are interacting with the tool. Some potential risk perhaps there can be. So nothing is perfect, but we are trying to do our best to provide a tool to our students. Okay, and these are the results that we have. So in terms of questions resolutions, we have 80%, at least that the tool was able to solve in that case. On the instructor side, 40% time saving. So that was great. When we were testing these tools, we were able to invest more time preparing resources, helping students that they really need some extra support. Because most of the time, students, they ask the same questions multiple times, and our tool is able just to kind of reply those questions. So that was really helpful. Okay, so the interaction is basically students, they get, the tool is embedded in Canvas, and they have just to ask questions, and the tool is pretty much replay the question about based on the context. So I'm gonna just provide one example of, I have 4 prompts here for our test. Okay, so this is my Canvas, and this is how it looks like. And I have integrated now with, I have this Python, this is an introductory class of programming. And here is our Wolves AI. Okay, so let me have some prompts here. Let me see, summarize week 3. So let me just start with this one. Okay, so the way that is going to interact, Wolves AI is going to retrieve information from our syllabus, assignments, other information related with the campus as well. So we put some financial aid information, student support information, so they can just type and it's going to retrieve. Another cool thing about the tool is that they can also interact using a different language. So let's say that we are serving different cultures, different community, right? So different ages as well. So they can use a different language to communicate. Let's say that I'm gonna type something in a different language now. Okay, so the AI tool understands what I'm trying to say. At least it supports, I think that's 40 different languages, so it's super powerful. Okay, so let's say that our chatbot, our student is trying to ask a different question that is not related with the topic or with the subject. That is some limitations, some boundaries that we establish here. So, who won the last Super Bowl? So AI, Wolf's AI is going to say, I'm here to assist with Python programming and course-related inquiries. So it has some kind of limitations related to the topic. And let's say also that the student is trying to get the solution of the problem. So, that's kind of the what we are looking for sometimes. Okay. Instead of provide the solution, Wolf AI is going to guide the student to solve or to navigate that problem and in order to work together side by side. Okay, so that's kind of the thing, and we can just go ask more questions. Is going to go in details about that specific. Okay, I think that's it. My presentation. Any questions?
So in a case of like in a case of an English course, if you have to write a paper or a history paper and you need to talk about, please write me a paper on Reconstruction after Civil War. It says I cannot write you an essay on that. It says these are major topics you could maybe perhaps write it on. So that's the kind of prompting.
Yeah, exactly. The system limit what the outcome it will be. So also with on the instructor side, they will have to provide the right information so I can feed the AI and he can do the right decision. So it's super powerful as long as we provide the right data. So that's
Very cool.
I have a
Very
question
cool.
for you.
Very cool.
So I appreciate you giving us this presentation. I know I asked about this, and it's very interesting. It's obviously things that we have to be prepared for. So if you had to look at, and this might be a Dr. Barrett question, if you had to look at our colleges compared to some other colleges in the state, and I'll take, and I don't know if Miami-Dade, you want to take out Miami-Dade and Santa Fe, like where would we stand in our adoption, our use, is everybody just kind of getting on board with it, or do we have some that are real heavy-duty adopters and way ahead of us?
Miami-Dade has a whole institute, and taking that,
Right.
but taking it the other thing, I think our approach has been a slow, methodical approach last year to try to deal with this with the faculty. So it wasn't, it's a change, a huge change in higher ed. So I think we've taken a little slower, and this year the whole AI issue with the internally, we've really adopted it through all our coursework, and I think the next step. So you ask us, I would say we're middle of the road.
Okay.
A lot of schools are jumped into it immediately, but I don't think they jumped into it with the ethical issues, and I think they're having some of those challenges that this is an easy fix for a student, So I think we've addressed it in a much more methodical way. But we're ready to jump, and we have the talent to do it. And I think,
What does a jump look like next?
Well, I think the jump next is to embed this as a basic competency for our students to use throughout the campus. I really think that becomes I'm not sure it doesn't become a gen ed course, but it becomes embedded in perhaps an SLS course.
Does it become a resource too? I mean, as a resource, obviously, for students to do the work rather than AI doing it for them.
Right.
But I guess that's the same thing you're saying. Okay.
And that's what I think. And then, or the leap we're trying to make now, the jump we're trying to make now is to actually have a degree program, a certificate, a stackable credential. That's what this plan is that they passed yesterday, EDAC. But I think our approach has been slower, but it's methodical, and I think it's well done. That's what especially answering those kind of questions. That's why I wanted him to demonstrate actually what all the work he's put into it, because it's really been fantastic.
And I guess the other thing I see as a value to it, from a strategic standpoint, is that every now and again it bubbles up about colleges and consolidation and how do you do more with less. And clearly, from some of the numbers that you showed about efficiencies and ways to serve students, if it's going to be a big part of how colleges are going to look at for their efficiencies going forward. Right. And using it and being ahead of the curve on it would, I think, give us an edge if at some point the legislature looks in like which colleges are truly advancing and who would be a leader in a consolidation versus getting consolidated into. So that's why I think AI is really important. It's going to be a good tool for us, especially with our far-flung geography about being efficient.
And I think, just to add that, I think one of the challenges will be with the enterprise reporting and so forth, with the banners, the Ellucians, some of the larger student information systems. They haven't really embraced AI into their aspects because they're proprietary. And so I think it'll be interesting to see with tutoring services and so forth that, we're bound by certain 24/7 tutoring things. These opens up potential opportunities that are much more tailored. So I think that's where I'm looking for the future, because it takes us sometimes to run a report in some of these mechanisms that are confusing. Other open resources are doing it. You can run a spreadsheet. We've done it with Foundation about if we generate this amount of money, how much money can we use in 20 years, and in 20 seconds we can get it from ChatGPT. So it's those kind of things that we need to look at.
Mr. Chair. Mr. Sanchez, any concerns about information security or data breaches?
Okay, that's important, and perhaps that could be the next step for us. Now we are moving or transferring some specific data, which is not a student data, that is contextual data. It's not critical, it's not relevant, but even so, I would say at some point we will have to have those models running locally in our systems. That it will enhance not just security, but also in terms of practicality, in terms of our students, they can really learn how to train the models. They can really learn how to use the models for automation, for other practice. AI, we can do amazing things, but obviously we will need the resources, we'll need the equipment, and I'm working with Dr. Brady here, and we are very excited about this opportunity about our AI program. Indeed, not just with this tool, but we are embedding AI with other classes, just kind of putting more, not pressure on our students, but this urgency that we have to move a little bit faster than we are doing now.
All right.
Okay.
Can I,
Yep, one more.
are you finished with your report?
What's that?
Are you finished with your report?
I was just going to simply say, are there any other questions?
I have two things. Okay. Thank you for preparing this. I really appreciate it. When you update it next, on the certificate programs, do you think you could also add how long it takes to get one of these? Because if you look at these salaries and you think about the time invested in some of these programs, it's really amazing. And I think this will be a great marketing tool for you. And then I wanted to just, number one, thank Dr. Barrett for his transparency in the email they sent us regarding the nurse pass rates. To say I was disappointed is probably not strong enough, especially after, I think, as a board, there's only so many things that we do have input in. And we clearly had a board consensus on the best way to help our students tackle that problem from the prior year. And so disappointed to hear that administration, not necessarily at this level, I think we've made those changes, but that if our students take classes and then they don't pass, we're not really helping them by being that nice, right? So I applaud you for stepping in quickly, taking care of that. I'm glad to see we've gone back to the tried and true methods that work. Ms. Allen was really a strong advocate for our testing program. And so just really glad to see that you've jumped on that. And thank you for sharing that news with us, because a lot of times, sometimes we don't, other people wouldn't have shared that bad news because it wasn't something to be proud of.
I wasn't proud of it.
So, but I'm encouraged by what I'm seeing, the fact that you've addressed it. And I guess one thing I would say, and I'm one trustee, but we cannot settle for mediocrity as a institution, and if we allow students to settle for mediocrity and we want to just be too nice and let them have an easier path, we are not serving them in the long run. And so thank you for jumping on that.
Amen.
Yes. Yeah. I agree. I do
Anything?
have a question.
Yes.
though. So the data here is data you pulled from the Florida Department of Education?
No, actually, that's a mix. I think that's the Department of Commerce. Also, was it the Department of Labor and Statistics?
Department of Labor and Statistics, which is the Florida Educational Training. I can't remember the rest of the acronym.
Yes, ma'am.
Right, so it's these are statewide stats and not necessarily our students here.
No, those are ours.
Yes, ma'am.
Those are ours.
Those are ours.
Okay, well, I was reading on the back, like so for example, Water Resources Management just says NA,
So NA means that there were less than
less than 10.
Yes.
Right.
from our school.
It just said less than 10, and Florida DOE collates data for only populations of 10 or more.
Yes, so we can't pull the data from where students go after they graduate from here because we don't have access to their tax records. So the FETPIP is not a Department of Education, but they give that data to the Department of Education, who provides it to us, to Chris specifically, every year. And then we have to go through that data and match up to make sure that they're actually getting those jobs and how they fit with our programs, and does this job that they have match the program that they graduated in. And so that takes a lot of time, but then they collate that data for us, and then we can kind of pivot it to look at all of those numbers.
Okay.
So I can give you an example of one of this, maybe this may help you, is in regards to the Health Information Technology AS degree. It says not available, but then if you go to page 2, medical coder biller, it says continuing employment or education is 96%, because that has more of a data than, more data over 10. So we can't get that information. So we could try, that's probably, should be on our radar screen, to try, because if we can't get it from the state, we should try to do it ourselves.
Right, because elementary education says NA,
Right.
but we have the bachelor program.
Well, and it's also, they have to track for a full year after they graduate. And so the most recent data is 22-23, and we only had one graduating.
You didn't have the
from
10.
education
Okay.
bachelor's at that time.
Yeah, because then the AS degree has data.
Right.
Okay.
Let me ask a question too, and you may have already addressed this, because Ms. Allen's questioned that too, but these are the Florida Gateway percentage numbers, right?
Correct.
They do not compare to other colleges.
We don't get full comparisons with other colleges. We tried to do that a few years ago, and there were some colleges that didn't like that ability.
Does the state do that? I would think that they would.
The state averages everything together, but they haven't released that in several years. So we could ask if they're planning.
Yeah, I'd be
to do
interested,
that.
because I think the state's moving somewhat in a direction as they have with K-12 schools, when you're looking at comparing and grading and things like that, and I'm thinking that this may be down the road.
And there's also the opportunity, there are the in-demand occupations list, which do give decent state averages and regional averages.
Right.
But it is by hourly rate, but it can obviously be calculated out. So we have that data as
Right.
well. And we try to use that when we're guiding programs or making decisions on programs.
I think the percentages look good. They do. Very,
Like I said,
very
Can
impressive.
I add one thing is, and correct me if I'm wrong with this, and I might be, but there is also statistics about the AA graduates, which were kind of, which we did not include on this.
They're on there.
There
They're
are?
on,
yeah,
they're,
it's low,
Which one?
but
It's low.
It's low.
However,
It's low.
The thing to remember about the EAA graduates.
They're going
Yeah, but that was.
28,000, 28,000.
Because a lot of
Yeah.
those students are continuing their education after they finish their
That's why.
AA and are still working
That's why.
low-wage jobs while they're working.
yes.
That's why I
That
wanted to
makes
point
sense.
out. I didn't
That's
see
a
that.
good
That was-
point.
That makes sense, yeah.
That does.
I don't know if you've seen that, like the Department of Labor, I think it is doing a huge marketing campaign right now, and I've seen it on X and other things, all about trades and the kind of money that you can make. And so I don't know how you're approaching marketing for students, but, you know, just with the government putting so much emphasis on those trades and just really, you know, trying to tap into untapped markets, this information is perfect to go with that. And I don't know how active we are on, like, you know, X or other things like that, because I don't do a lot of social media, but, you know, tagging that Department of, I think it was Department of Labor, not Department of Commerce, but really great stuff out there pushing the trades. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Especially around Labor Day, they had a ton of stuff on Labor Day about it, obviously, but, so thank you for putting this together, appreciate it.
Yes.
All right. Any other questions? All right, that concludes the academic report.
Thank you.
Good job.
Next up, Student Affairs and Public Information.
It's like Marco Rubio.
I'll pay it. As you know, Vice President Cardenas resigned. I'll do that as part of my report at the end. if that's
Okay. Now, enrollment, and marketing.
Good evening, everyone. Our fall enrollment has continued to maintain an increase over last fall. We are at 3,061 students compared to 2,988 last fall. That's a 2.4% increase. We're at 29,484 credit hours compared to 28,414 last fall for a 3.7% increase. And we are continuing to promote our later start classes for fall as well. In financial aid, we held a social event for our Board of Trustees scholarship recipients and their mentors. And the mentors are volunteer faculty and staff. And on August 27th, they had pizza in the hall, got to know each other, just made the students feel comfortable in going to them throughout the semester with any problems they may have. We have a total of 56 new Board of Trustees scholarship recipients that are starting this fall. And I want to acknowledge Kaya Hunter and Financial Aid for organizing that social and doing a great job with the BOT scholarships. Also in financial aid, we are preparing for the 26-27 FAFSA updates. One of the most significant changes is expanded federal aid for short-term career-focused programs. So Pell may be extended to programs that are less than 15 weeks or less than 600 clock hours starting in 26-27. So for example, our CDL program is not eligible for federal aid right now, and it doesn't meet that threshold. But in 26-27, it should. So that is great news. In admissions and dual enrollment, the team coordinated and held college night in the Howard Center on the evening of August 27th. We had a great turnout of colleges and universities, as well as our own academic programs, and we actually had over 400 guests attend the event. Good. That includes prospective students and their families. We actually had a busload of Dixie County High School students that they bussed over, so that was great. I want to thank Brian Lloyd and Shawana Wilson for their hard work on that event. In dual enrollment, we are busy scheduling advising sessions with every dual enrollment student, which means going to the high schools sometimes multiple days and meeting with each of them to prepare for spring registration. So by the end of October, they will have met with 580 students. In the Office of Advising, we are coordinating several outreach campaigns. Now that fall has started and it's kind of settled down, we're encouraging students to come in and do their personal education plans if they haven't already done that, and that maps out their semester by semester coursework and testing to earn their credential. And we are also doing outreach for nursing students because the spring admission deadlines are coming up in October. So we're reaching out to students who should be ready to come to advising, have their packet reviewed, and make sure that they're ready. Finally, in registration and records, we had our Veteran Affairs Compliance Audit recently. Amanda Luke is our VA certifying official, so she processes and certifies benefits for veterans and service members and dependents. And it was a very clean audit. There was one minor finding that we were able to resolve at the meeting. So we're very proud of the work that she's doing. We currently have 50 veterans enrolled and 59 dependents who are receiving benefits and processed through that office. Yes.
I have a question about nursing program.
Okay.
I had somebody from Union County ask me recently, she has an RN, she's wanting to go back to school for the BSN, and I said, Florida Gateway offers that degree. And then she said, yes, but it's only for people who can go full-time. If she's working as a nurse full-time, like, there's
an option for part-time.
Is there an option, is there the ability, if you're working full-time, to still take classes?
It is not cohort-based, so they can do that. They can take 1 class, 3 classes. It is not cohort-based, so they can do it part-time.
The majority take it part-time, don't they?
I would say a majority take it.
I would think so.
Because it would seem like with the BSN program, you would have
Right,
a lot
you're
of
working.
RNs that would want to do that.
Yes, it's also completely online. So
Okay, okay,
It's
all right.
intended to work with working.
Okay. So I can tell her that?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, another student.
All right, any other questions, comments?
Thank you.
Thank you. Business Services Report.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
The college requests approval of budget amendment number 2 to the restricted current fund for the fiscal year 25-26. This amendment recognizes revised award authorizations and new grants received in the 25-26 fiscal year.
Okay. Any questions about the request for the budget amendment? Not, I ask for a motion.
So moved.
Ms. Norris?
Second.
Ms. Allen?
Thank you.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? It passes.
Thank you. My next request, we are requesting approval of Fund 7, Budget Amendment 2, which has been revised so the report reflects actual revenue, revised budgeted expenditures, actual expenses on projects through August 26, 2025.
All right. Any questions about this budget amendment? Not, I'd ask for a motion.
So moved, Medina.
Mr. Medina?
Second.
Ms. Norris? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes.
Thank you. And finally, the college requests board approval of the 25-26 Florida College System Carry Forward Spending Plan pursuant to 1013.841 Florida statutes. These are the numbers after the annual financial reports, the AFR that we send to DOE, and this is how we're going to plan on spending our unallocated fund balances.
All right. Any questions about the carry forward spending plan? Not, I call for a motion.
So
Mr.
moved.
Chairman, yeah,
Ms. Norris?
I'll second.
Dr. Cernsey? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes.
Thank you. Any questions?
Any questions, comments?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chair Lander, can I ask a question? I don't know who the appropriate person is to ask, but just going back to this program area, am I looking at this correctly where a 4-year nursing degree, your average salary is only $67,000, but if you're an AS nurse, you're at $81,000? Am I looking at that correctly?
That's the data that the state's providing to us.
That's the data that the state provided to us.
So what's the color behind it? Is it that's maybe where more of the need is, and that's hospitals or places are paying up for that level? Or what's driving that number for a 2-year degree versus a 4-year degree? You make more, why would you go spend 2 more years and get a bachelor's nursing other than the management track if you can make $20,000? Well, $10,000.
The sheer number of associate degree nurses is significantly higher than the number of bachelor's prepared nurses, but also administratively, those people are typically salaried, whereas an associate degree nurse is working, they're traveling, making tons of money, or they're working
Okay, so their overtime might feed into that salary. Okay, all right, that makes more sense. Okay, thank you.
There's also potentially, this happens in law enforcement at times, there's also potential that once you have the 4-year degree, there are job opportunities that maybe you prioritize a day shift versus the additional funding. So, you know, I want to teach, or I want to have a clinic, I don't want to be in the emergency room anymore. And that does potentially lower what they're bringing home.
Okay, all right.
And I do understand that, because I was told, this same person that was trying to, talking about getting the BSN, I asked her, if you get the BSN, will you make more money? And she said, not necessarily, sometimes less, because the floor nurses frequently take all the extra hours and extra, so their salaries are higher, but the salaried BSNs don't make as much. But what she was saying is, I have to get that because I want to be a nurse practitioner. So
Okay.
you have to get that to get to the next level.
And management track, I think, or
Yeah.
something. Okay, thank you.
A lot of places, the differential, once you get your BSN, should you choose to keep your floor nursing job, is $1 an hour.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
All right. Interesting.
Thank you. Understand.
Any other questions, comments? All right. President's report.
It's not been a very busy time the last month. Today we had a very special day. I want to thank Trustee Brannon, Representative Brannon, for participating. It was a very special day. We had a full house, and I was very proud of our faculty and staff and students who put this on for us today. So I just want to thank you. I'll never forget. Busy start of the new year. Our campus students seem very social and engaged, a little bit too social and engaged sometimes. But as you heard, we have lots of programming being planned for them and others, and we really have put in some different plans and different procedures and processes for our dorm students and to make it a better experience for them, but also make it a safe environment for them. On that same topic about safety, I would like us to answer that question that was asked at the next meeting, once we have some time to process that, if we can, through our attorney. But we have gone through some safety protocols, thanks to Michelle Holloway's department. We did a full lockdown of the campus on faculty and staff orientation day. The first day we did a convocation day. It's where we were able to lock down all the buildings and offices with just a phone, and made it. It was successful, the launch, and we're going to be testing this over the fall semester to start testing, make sure our text messaging is working in conjunction with that. But we want to make sure that people understand this is a test and not a real life situation. So thanks, Michelle, for doing that. It was a very successful launch. We do have lots of cameras on campus now. I don't know if we should share how many, but no, by law, but it's too many. Anyway, anywhere you go, there's cameras on campus. But tomorrow, some of us will meet with a contractor regarding the grounds of the new downtown building. It is truly a nice building once we clean it up outside, and that should be. It's been we had to get the clear title done on it, so it's taken us a little longer to get that going. And it is a building we can walk in and use. I do think probably from aesthetics and quality of thing, we probably want to do some work on that before we do it, but we can actually walk in and do it. And many of the furnishings in there are nicer than some of our current buildings. So we've been asked to host a series of events for the 250th Celebration of America. It will include some of the following. It will include a program that we're designing called Voices of America, which will be a narration of America over the last 250 years with stories and songs. We're tentatively planning that on February 27th or Friday, March 6th. We also are expanding our Constitution Day. You probably don't know about that yet, Amy, but we're also going to be part of, because that was decided this morning. So we also are going to try in April to have Films of the Nation as part of the 250th celebration, where we'll have during National Community College Month films of the United States of America. And then we're going to ask student activities. We heard about that today, to add they do the music trivia that Michelle always competes on. We're going to have America at 250 Trivia Challenge, which I think I'm going to enter. And then that one. And of course, Lee, through the foundation and through the college, will be participating and sponsoring the big gala in Columbia County on July 4th, the 250th Celebration of America. Let's see what else. Academic programming is going well. We're anticipating to have the massage therapy program tentatively scheduled for this campus for spring to get it underway. We also are planning our X-ray technician, which will be an advisory committee held very shortly. And our AI was approved, at least a certificate was approved yesterday through our process. The college will be partnering with Catholic Charities and the Food Bank on a number of initiatives for the upcoming semester, and the need has never been greater for that organization. And that is my report before I ask formal action to be taken on the strategic plan.
Okay. Any questions or comments about the report? All right.
Okay. So last month, I handed out and we went over some of the strategic plan, and I'm asking for the board, I think there's an actual resolution in your packet, to approve the strategic plan. Remember, when I talk about strategic plans, they're always changing, and once they change, we can come back to you and so forth. So this was the introduction to the strategic plans, the goals and the outcomes. And the staff always loved my aspirational goals as part of the strategic plan, because I pushed them pretty hard on that. And I mentioned that to Mr. Pinchuk the other day, the $45 million in the next 5 years. So I just do that to get Lee going. So, Mr. Chair, I'm looking for any discussion, and if you could pass that.
Okay. Any discussion or comments about the 2025 through 2030 strategic plan as presented? If not, then I would ask for a motion to approve the Florida Gateway College 2025 through 2030 strategic plan.
I so move.
Ms. Allen?
I'll second it.
Dr. Cernsey? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. It's passed. Anything else? All right. Our next item is topics for future meetings. Do any board member have any topics for future meetings they'd like to see on the agenda coming up?
Mr. Chair, I just want to remind the board that in the October meeting, Mr. Pinchuk will be coming to do the annual foundation update and the renewal of the certification for the Foundation for Florida Gateway College.
Okay, we'll look forward to that. If not, then the warrant register is available for inspection. Our next meeting will be on October 9th here in this room at 5 p.m. And if there's nothing else, I'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you.
All right.